For the first time ever, the Samsung Galaxy Note line follows the lead of the Galaxy S line, for better or worse. It's Joshua Vergara from Android Authority. What's going on, everybody? And here is your first look at the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. If you're already familiar with the Samsung Galaxy Note 4 and the S6 from earlier this year, then you pretty much know what to expect in the Note 5. The larger Note series with its S Pen now gets the design choices that the S6 started, and that also means the omission of expandable storage and removable batteries, which we'll get to in a little bit. As far as design goes, however, the Note 5 does take on everything that the S6 started, with a metal frame and dual glass design, where the backing does taper down into the edges a little bit, so you get a nice little curve that does make the phone sit pretty well in the hand. And it also sheds about a millimeter in all directions when compared to the Note 4. The result is a phone that is a little bit more dense than the Note 4, mostly because of its material choices, but ultimately it does feel very nice in the hand and makes it feel very premium. Not much else changes in the design department, especially when you consider all of the button layouts, the fact that the heart rate monitor is on the back next to the camera, and really the only big change is in the S Pen itself. Now it not only feels a little bit lighter, and it also feels a little bit more nimbler. The top part of it does have a clicking mechanism on it, which is very interesting, and it's something that you might find yourself clicking from time to time, not only to pop it out of its little slot, but also to just click when you need something to do in between your thoughts, writing with the S Pen. The display continues the great prowess that Samsung already has in all of their devices, and at 5.7 inches you get Quad HD resolution with this wonderful performing Super AMOLED display. And underneath the surface, an Exynos processor that clocks in at 2.1 GHz for a quad-core and a backed up 1.5 GHz quad-core processor create the octa-core package that you're probably expecting Samsung to put in their flagship devices, and probably already experienced a little bit of in the Galaxy S6 and Edge. 4 GB of RAM does round out the spec sheet in that regard, but that also means that multitasking should be a breeze in the Galaxy Note 5, allowing you to do everything from multitasking with the multi-window and also performing a lot of tasks with the S Pen. Now, we were told that the Note 5 will come with 32 and 64 GB storage options, but as we mentioned already, there is no micro SD card slot, and the omission of a 128 GB option might miff a few people who really need a lot of storage for, let's say, their media consumption. But however, the returning features also include the fingerprint scanner up front and the heart rate monitor that is on the back, both being touch applications, of course, and they still both seem to work quite well for their main applications. And of course, with the battery, 3000 milliamp hours is the capacity that you'll get in the unit here, which seems a little bit paltry for a larger device, especially when you consider that 3500 milliamp hours did appear in the Samsung Galaxy S6 Active, which is a smaller device. So we're hoping that the optimizations found within will still allow this phone to go the distance, and we're really crossing our fingers for that. Now, what returns from the Galaxy S6 is also the fantastic 16 megapixel camera with its low aperture construction and optical image stabilization, along with a 5 megapixel front-facing unit with a wide-angle lens. We don't really have any pictures to show you here, but we did look through the modes inside of the camera app, and we did find a few nice additions. On the one hand, we did have a video collage that was kind of cool to try out, but then the main addition that they are trying to market here is the live broadcasting to YouTube that is available. When you go into the mode, you log into your YouTube account and you'll be able to do a live broadcast stream of whatever the cameras are showing from the camera app itself. And finally, in software, we do find a very familiar version of Android Lollipop here, and the TouchWiz overlay on top is very reminiscent of the one that was already found in the Samsung Galaxy S6. Now, with that in mind, Samsung was looking to improve what is really unique about the Note 5, and that is, of course, the S Pen. Aside from the actual construction of the S Pen being a little bit different, we also have a couple new features. Now, one of them is the ability to actually start an action memo from the turned off screen. You'll be able to just pop out the S Pen when the screen is off, and the entire screen just lights up a little bit and gives you a blank slate in order to quickly write down and jot down a note. This is called the screen off memo. Now, for those of you that actually use the S Pen for quick written notes, this might be a very easy and very quick way of doing that, and it does look quite nice, and it was pretty fun to use. Now, the other capturing ability is called the scroll capture. Now, if you were going to do a screen right and be able to take a picture of what is on your screen and then just sort of jot on top of it. Now the screen right will allow you to take and piece together multiple pictures of the same web page in order for you to have the entire web page available, and you can scroll through and find your different notes that you've jotted down on it. And then of course the Air Command window looks a little bit more unique this time around. It does fade out the background a bit and gives you access to not only the 3 main functions of the S Pen, but it also gives you a few quick application shortcuts so that you would get to your most used applications a little bit easier. Now, there are pros and cons in taking on the Galaxy S6 design, and while we do think that it makes this new Note device feel even more premium than before, it does omit some features that we were expecting or at least hoping that the Note line would continue to have. And without expandable storage or removable battery, we can't help but think that some Note loyalists are going to feel a little bit miffed in this new iteration. But really, with all of the features that are found inside, it really shows that Samsung has really reached a very far point in their smartphone game, and with the great Galaxy S6 that we already liked so much, we can see those enhancements already making the Note 5 a pretty great device to have, and we can't wait to put our full review treatment on it when we get our hands on a review unit. So keep it tuned to Android Authority for even more about the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. Check all of our quick looks at this channel for our verses, and from there, keep it tuned to AndroidAuthority.com for even more, because we are your source for all things Android.